Yeah, make sure you stay tuned to that, because Nigel Farage's show is going to be as box office as ever. But he said he was right on the cusp there. He said he was right on the border of ULEZ and people being affected by it. Well, I am joined now by Katie, who is actually one of these people. Katie, thank you very much. Could you just explain your personal situation? And so I think I've got this right. So you live outside of the ULEZ area. You don't get to vote for the London mayor, but he still charges you. Talk me through it.
So I live just outside of the ULEZ zone, within half a mile. I work as a teacher in a secondary school in the ULEZ zone, so I have to drive to school every day, so I have to drive into the ULEZ zone. I had a family car. It was a 2014 diesel, so I had to sell it for a lot less than market value, which obviously as a teacher has put us in a more challenging situation, having to get a new car because I have to drive to work every day.
How much has that cost you?
Getting a new car? Well, fortunately, we were given a very, very old car, which is actually 2005.
Okay.
So much older.
So does that count as a classic car? No, it doesn't quite, does it?
No, it doesn't quite count as a classic car, but it is a very old Vauxhall Corsa, but it's nearly 20 years old, but because it's petrol, it's still ULEZ compliant. Right. But it's a small car and not great as a family car, which the car we had to sell.
For you, in the round, it just feels a little bit unfair. You didn't get to vote on this. You won't get to vote for the mayor, but you're still getting charged. And presumably, I don't know. I mean, if an opportunity came up for you to work somewhere else or to move job, would you look to take that or not?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And if they want teachers and they want public servants or people to stay in jobs within the ULEZ zone, they need to provide better public transport. They need to provide help for those people who need to get to work.
Okay, all right. Now, I'm going to bring in Jim Dale, who's been our resident meteorologist for all this. He's been listening to everything that's all been said there. Thank you, Katie. Bye-bye. So, Jim, look, what do you make of that? You've got people like Katie there who are getting clobbered left, right and centre, and it doesn't seem fair.
As I said to you before, the implementation perhaps could have been handled better. Katie's a good example of that, where some people are finding it difficult and accepted. And I make it plain, when you when big changes come in government or local government, there is always some who fall through the net, if that's the right terminology. But I want to look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is all about the environment. It's all about health. Katie's got children. That's what this is aimed at. Is to prevent those illnesses. It's to be.
Well, this is interesting. No, this is interesting. What's happening now? Actually, this is interesting. What's happening now, because. Go on. Now, bear in mind, we are live, so don't swear, OK? I'm doing my Big Brother impression here. But what does keep happening, Jim, and we can't get around this, is that ordinary folk keep coming up whilst you're talking about how great this is for the environment, and people are saying that this is all just money in people's pockets. It's taxes.
So I've been here all day, and do you know what? When I've been having these interviews, people have come behind me, they come to me, and they shook me hand and said, "Thank you very much for giving the opposite view," because there is two views, and that's what you're doing today. That's what you're doing today. But what we have to do is have an interview that is one that we can hear what's going on, not people shouting in the background, because that's not a debate. That's not an exercise in democracy.
There's a lady here shouting, take your number plates off your cars. People have been vandalising all of the ULEZ cameras so far. This is what's happening, Jim. You know, people don't want this. It's undemocratic. And if people don't want to save the planet in a way that you think they should, then you shouldn't make them do it.
Yeah, it's not just about saving the planet. I say saving the planet is a small part of this. The health issue comes first and foremost. Better environments, greener environments and all the rest of it. I said people can fall through the net. I recognise that in absolute terms, and as I say, maybe it hasn't been handled quite in the way it should have been handled, but there's a fresh breeze blowing this evening. We can feel it now. I'm not saying this is a one-day wonder. It will not be, but in a year's time this will be established. This area and other areas, not just here but around the country, are going to take the benefit of that.
What is that benefit? Come on, because I've got a chap here who's saying to me that this is his jeweller's business. He was saying it's going to, potentially, impact his business by around 20%. So he's put a number on that. We know that your average man and woman on the street is going to cost them around £12.50 a day. We've had a lady there who's had to go through the rigmarole of getting a new car. She could look for a new job. She can put a figure on all of this stuff. I am yet to have anyone put a figure on how much cleaner this area air is going to get as a result of the ULEZ?
Because it's one of those things that's quite unfathomable. I think there's a lot of, well, no, it's quite that. This will be measured into the future. Air quality will be measured. It's measured now, and it's been found to be causing problems in terms of asthma and other cases worse than that. There is a British Heart Foundation here. I wish we would have gone to it and stood outside there, because that would have told a little bit of truth about how pollution affects the body, the lungs, the heart, and all the rest of it. And it is a silent disease. You don't get pollution written on your death.
Do you not think, if it's so good and it's so obvious and you care so passionately about it, Jim, and I do respect you for that, but you should be able to make a much more clear-cut case. Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, paid around £800,000 for a university to try to come up with a study that helped to prove his points and sell this, and then they weren't happy with the results of it. You shouldn't have to pay 800 grand for something to back your point up.
Yeah, perhaps you shouldn't. And I think the academics that were involved, they were arguing amongst themselves. That's what scientists do. I mean, two lots of scientists argued about the results, but different results come out with different monitors come out with different results, and that's essentially what's happened in this case. But the bigger picture is what I would like viewers to think about. Nobody, not even the main opposition, I talked to many of them today, want a polluted world. None of them. So it's the best way of getting there. I'm not saying that this has been the best way, but certainly in terms of the right direction of travel, then this is where we are at this moment.
Well, now this is interesting. Something else has just happened here. In fact, quite a lot is going on. Let's have a little look around here. Hello, who are you?
My name's Martin, I'm from Beckenham.
OK, now Martin, a polite reminder that we are live on national television at the moment, as I'm sure you're aware, so keep it clean. We've got quite a few other people coming in here. This very much was not planned, but, well, what do you think about ULEZ?
I think you can...
Hello? Oh, no, not you, I think. I don't know. Go on.
I think you know what I feel about ULEZ. We've been at Downing Street all day today.
Yeah.
I've heard you talking about democracy. What democracy? You know, I mean, Khan put out, you know, this consultation that he completely ignored. So, you know, it wasn't in his mandate when he came into power, so it's all a load of old cobblers. And you lot are just scaremongering people all the time. This time next year, this will be this and this will be that. We've been hearing that since the 60s. In 10 years' time, there'll be no oil. All
right, I'll come back to you. Jim, have your say.
Well, the say is that we live in a democracy. We have elections to elect these people, mayor or government. I don't agree with much of this, what the government actually do, but they make the rules. We follow the rules. And so that's where we are at this moment in time. I don't think this is not rocket science. And if we're talking about this particular thing, rest in peace, blood on your hands, Khan, that's just hitting a single.
Okay.
How many people have got to die? It's not a case of when you say die, we're talking.
Okay, one at a time. Stop now. You come in now. What's your name?
It's Dawn.
Right. Hello, Dawn. Nice to meet you. Why do you feel so strongly about this? You think that people are dying as a result of ULEZ?
No, I think they're dying because of the stress that they're being put on. They don't know where the next penny's coming from. They are absolutely worried to death about. I know people. And we've been at, as I say, we've been at Downing Street all day today, and we've come straight from Downing Street. I was talking to an 80-year-old man and an 80-year-old woman who have had to give up their car because they cannot afford to buy a new car.
Let's come back to that then, Jim, because that's an issue for a lot of people, especially who are elderly. They might feel confined to their own homes as a result of this. Is it worth it?
It's an issue. It's certainly an issue. I said to you that the implementation hasn't been handled in perhaps the way that it should. Nothing ever does when there's a big change. And there are, for want of a better word, there are casualties. But in terms of talking blood on your hands and deaths and all the rest of it, there's far more deaths caused by pollution than any other. And mental health affects you in once you get the particulates into your body. Once you get you only have to spend Whoa.
Okay. Can I ask you guys a question? Let me just come back around here for a second now, because what I want to ask is that all of you seem capable of assessing what Sadiq Khan is saying, which is that millions of people will have cleaner air, in his view, and that is something that's worth it, and clean air should be a human right. But you all, you reject that. What?
I'm all for clean air, you know, but as you said, he's gone about it the wrong way. This is affecting people big time. I'm a tradesman. I've got an older van. I can't afford to spend a new van. Unfortunately, I can't work full time anymore because of health problems. So why do I want to put myself into debt? You know, I've heard Khan say you can buy new vehicles for £5,000, £6,000. Well, for a van, well, even for a van the size that I've got of mine, you're looking at £20,000 for a compliant one. What they've got to remember is you've got to pay VAT on commercial vehicles. It's all part of the price. We can't all claim VAT back.
What do you make of the people who've been vandalising some of the cameras? This has been a vandal hotspot.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't say anything about that. I mean, you know, well, all right.
You can condone it because it's against the law.
It is against
Okay,
the law.
you can look. You're entitled to your protest. Absolutely entitled. That's what a democracy does. You're entitled to stand there and do what you're doing and voice your opinions. You're not entitled to break the law. I'm not saying you are, but even condoning breaking the law.
I haven't broken.
All right, look, this is the perfect example of the public mood in Bromley at the moment, and dare I say it, probably across most London boroughs as well, and across a variety of different towns and cities. Can I just say thank you very much for keeping that about as civil as it could have been.